got a secret underneath. Yeah, she's this naughty little freak. She likes to put on a show. She likes when it takes control.
All right, taking a look at the NFC North standings after that dramatic win by the Lions on the road to Minnesota, which vaulted them to the top of the standings, but same overall record there, 5-1 with the Vikings. NFC North, only division in football with all four teams above 500. Back here on NFL Game Day Kickoff alongside Bucky Brooks, I am Rhett Lewis. Okay, Bucky, will all four teams in the NFC North, as good as they are right now, make the playoffs this year?
Let's see. I was taking a little Spanish, so let me translate this. That we know.
Oh.
No, they're all not going.
Yep.
They can't all go to the party. But I think three of the teams can go because three teams are built the right way when it comes to being able to make a long, sustained run in the postseason. But unfortunately, one of those teams is going to be left out. And I'm going to say the Chicago Bears are left out. Inexperience at quarterback, questions around their offensive line, and then the inconsistency of the running game. I don't know if the Bears will be able to control games like you need to down the stretch against these heavyweight teams. The other teams are a little more balanced, have a little more defense support, not more defense support than Chicago Bears, but they're a little more well-rounded. So I'm going to go with those three teams, and I'm going to say that the Chicago Bears on the outside of the velvet ropes looking in.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears have been hot as of late, coming off, struggled a little bit to start the season, but certainly rolling now with Caleb Williams. See if they can keep that going and put some pressure on your prediction right there. But let's look at it this way then. Which team do you see at this point ultimately winning the NFC North?
Oh, it has to be the Detroit Lions. It has to start with the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions should have been in the Super Bowl last year. When you look at the way the NFC Championship game was played, this is one of the more talented teams, a balanced roster, a roster without a glaring weakness. I know you were talking about Aiden Hutchinson not being available because of the injury, but they do it by committee. They play hard, they're physical, they can dominate with their offense. Aaron Glenn has done a really good job with their defense. To me, you can pencil the Detroit Lions in. They're representing the North.
Yeah, and just looking at, the next time that we're going to see the Vikings and Lions play is going to be Week 18.
Oh, it's perfect.
Right? I mean, that could very well decide this
it.
division. I didn't think that, either team drastically outplayed the other in this one, even though the Lions come out with the win. I mean, it was the Vikings who jumped out early, and then the Lions certainly came back, but it was certainly close down to the end. What do you think the Packers would have to do to get their name to the top of the list?
Man, they just got to knock them off because the Packers are just about, as much as I wax poetic about the Detroit Lions, we can talk about the Minnesota Vikings, but the Green Bay Packers are also well constructed. Yeah. When you look at this offense, more balanced offense with Josh Jacobs, you look at a diverse passing game where they don't really have a number one playmaker. It's just the ball goes to the open guy.
Yes.
Jordan Love being able to play at a high level. Then conversely, you flip to the defense. Defense leads the league in takeaways. 17 turnovers this unit has forced. Defensive coordinator Jeff Hadley just wants the team to do two things: play hard, give great effort, and then take the ball away. They've done that. This is a really good team. They're just a notch below those other teams.
I mean, look, when you can limit C.J. Stroud to less than 100 yards passing, you're doing something right, with the way that defense is playing. So they do feel like a very complimentary football team there in Green Bay, and the NFC North is going to be a lot.
That's smart. Look, it doesn't undermine the defensive coaching staff in Green Bay, and it's part of the self-scouting that you do. You bring in an expert in defense who's going to look at what you're doing offensively. Here are the things that I would attack if I were game planning to face the Packers right now. And then Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the team, can take that into account in making the adjustments. Because, look, at the end of the day, you got 11 guys on defense. You can deploy them however you want. You have an experienced defensive coordinator who was good enough at the job to become a head coach. And the Jets now, without him, are a little hamstrung defensively, giving up 37 points to the Steelers on Sunday night, losing to the Bills the prior Monday night, solid not around. This helps the Packers. The defense is fine in Green Bay. This helps the offense. And the Packers in position to continue to build on a season that started slowly, but it's moving in the right direction.
He's down. He's not feeling great. He's in a rut. He gets fired. And Matt LaFleur picked up the phone and says, dude, just get back into the locker room and hang with us. And mental health-wise, this is what you want to see in life. Someone who's got your back when things don't go right in your career and says, we've got a place for you. Not only are they friends, Robert Sala's best man at his wedding was Matt LaFleur. They shared an apartment together when they worked as GAs at Central Michigan. They go so far that Brian Kelly, who was the head coach at the time, had them in this little corner office and would barely address them. And the two of them were like, "Du boys, like, what do you need?" They go back so deep. And so, yes, Saleh will help with some offensive concepts. I don't know how much he's going to help on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not dismissing that. I think more than anything, this was for Robert Saleh, and Matt LaFleur is a good man to say, hey, we got you. There's always a place in my sideline for you, and I'm your boy through thick and thin. You got a place here in Green Bay. I love this stuff.
Man, Peter, you just knocked it out of the park on that, brother, because that's exactly what I saw when I saw this whole transaction going down. And, you know, find you a friend like Matt LaFleur, man. That's the type of friends you need. You know, everybody's going to be in your corner when you're hired to be the head coach for the New York Jets. They're going to be in your corner when you're having all this success, no matter what you're doing in life. But who's going to be in your corner when you get fired? Who's going to be in your corner when you're in rock bottom? Who's going to be there to say, hey, buddy, we're good. Come up. Let's get together. Let's have a chat. Come over to our practice. Come over to Green Bay. I don't know what you're going to do. I really don't need you here, but you're my buddy. You're my brother. I just want you to know that I love you, and you always have an ear to listen. I love it. Again, it's a good lesson for all of us in this world and society, man. Just be a good friend, man, and look out for your friends that are really going through some stuff, because you never know what people are going through. Obviously, we knew what Robert Saleh was going through with the firing, but a lot of people are going through and facing battles that you don't know. So be a good friend. Reach out. Say, hey, bro, let's get together sometime. So.
When I was out in 2018, after I got fired in 17 here in Indy, I had an opportunity to do some things like this for some coaches that I knew. Dirk Cutter was the head coach down at Tampa, and I put eyes on some things for him every week. You know, so he's going to look at probably, you know, red area defense. He's going to look at third down, some 2-minute stuff, and give LaFleur and that offensive staff a little bit different perspective.
Okay, so whenever you said defense there, red area, I think there is a real effort here to be like, he's not on the defensive side. Because the defense for the Packers got to figure it out,
yeah,
right?
It's humming right now, yeah.
Defense is playing the best it's played in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there was a big effort for LaFleur to say he's going to be on the offensive side, getting a defensive kind of set of eyes on it. How often does that happen for, like, offensive guys to get defensive coaches to look at things and then defense coordinators to get offensive
I think
coordinators?
probably more than we know. This is just public because the guy's been fired and they have him out there and he's been seen on the, so they had to talk about it and describe, you know, because they are doing great. Hafley's doing a phenomenal job with that Packer defense, and just say, hey, look, this gives us a little bit different perspective, a defensive guy telling us ahead of time, like advanced scouting. So whoever's next on the schedule, he's going to take a look at that team, that defense, give a presentation, give a write-up to LaFleur and the offensive coaches. Here's what they're doing. If I was doing this, we play this, this is what hurt us. This would hurt us. So maybe attack this player, this scheme, this coverage.
Could you imagine if the Packers go and win the Super Bowl? I tweeted it last night. If the Packers go and win the Super Bowl here and Coach Saleh gets a ring while getting paid by the Jets with the Aaron and LaFleur, and then just everything about it. It would be an all-time. It would be one of the greatest NFL football stories of all time. And if he's doing advanced scouting, remember when he was just focused on, you know, doing one thing, coaching, as opposed to dealing with everything that head coaching has. That's why he got the job.
Exactly.
It's because how great he was. So him and LaFleur, I think, were roommates in college.
Yep.
They were best men in each other's wedding. It's like getting somebody that you're like best friends with back in your life. Good. Okay, that's good energy every single day. Even check you sometimes, probably that other people aren't willing or able to potentially check you. Both sides kind of doing that. And then also to get his big-ass brain just focused on one thing. Are the Packers going to get better because of Coach Saleh coming in town? Feels like much better.
Green Bay Packers 5-2 with the Jaguars 2-5. Welcome back from your 2-game trip to London, Jacksonville. Get ready to face the Packers, who have an NFL high 17 takeaways this season. They only had 18 all of last year. This is a tough spot for the Jaguars, and the Packers, Shereen, it feels like they're starting to spread their wings and become the team that we thought they'd be from the start of the season.
Yeah, they really are, Mike. They're playing better and better and better. And, you know, I know Trevor Lawrence has gotten better. He played last week was only his 6th clean game, no turnovers in his 4 seasons. But he's gotten better over the last 4 games, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But I still see the Packers winning this one pretty easily because they do feel like they've found their stride.
I agree with you completely. Jordan Love getting better and better. The running game very potent, second to the Ravens in the NFL. And the Jaguars, even though they beat the Patriots, I mean, come on. Gerard Mayo said it himself. They're a soft football team. The Packers, the Jaguars, welcome back from London. You get two games away from home and a long week, and here come the Packers. Packers only favored by 4. It's the highest over under the week at 49. Chris, you have picked Green Bay to win every week this season. They are now 5-2. Do they get to 6-2 against the Jaguars?
Well, the Green Bay offense is one of the best in football. I think that's where you got to start. And then you talk about the Jaguars defense where, let me just make sure. It stinks. I know that, but I just want to make sure exactly where it is. 27th in football right now. 27.7 points per game against a team that I would call they run the ball with the running back better than the Baltimore Ravens, right? Ravens lead the NFL in rushing, but that's a lot because of Lamar's ability to scramble and run too. When you just talk about true running the ball, I'm taking the Packers as the best running team in the sport, right? They got that. We know their ability to throw the ball and be explosive and aggressive down the field. Jordan Love's got to take care of the ball better. We know that, but I think he will. He's been making comments this week about that's the number one thing he's got to fix. I do think the Jaguars have found a little something on offense, especially with Brian Thomas Jr. They are starting to move him around everywhere. Within the offense, you could see he's getting a better grasp. He's in the slot. He's over here. He's over there. They're designing the pass game around him. And I think because of that, that's probably why the line's a little closer. And I think Trevor Lawrence and company will make some plays against this Green Bay defense, who's aggressive. They try to make turnovers. They do stuff like that. And within that, sometimes it allows them to be left open for big plays. I'm going Packers 34-24. Ultimately, I think the Packers are one of the best teams in football. They're young. They're learning how to win. But damn, they're good.
We almost ended up with the exact same score. I got 34-23. Packers win, Packers cover. This is just one of those games where the Jaguars managed to get a win. The heat's off a little bit. Hey, we just got back from London.
Yeah.
Packers are back. I just don't see the Jaguars pulling it together. And I may eat these words, but I don't care. It won't be the first time. Tastes like chicken. But I just feel like the Packers know what they're playing for. The Jaguars at this point, they have to realize it's a long road for them to be relevant again. And they also have to realize beating the Patriots really doesn't mean anything, especially when the coach calls them soft.
LaFleur said Robert Saleh will work with the Packers' offensive side, bringing a defensive perspective. Sounds like a part-time role. J-Mac, it's interesting. Like, he knows defenses. Obviously, there's familiarity there.
Man. Absolutely. He has a great relationship with LaFleur. So as you're installing stuff offensively, hey, what do you think they're going to be thinking on defense when you see this? Right away, he's doing it. You know he was going to go somewhere.
Hawk, you don't like it?
Not that I don't like it, but I remember when Hugh Jackson went to work for a different team in the same year.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, it was the craziest thing we'd ever heard.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. Bring him in.
I mean, first of all, Robert Saleh knows ball. Good for him to get back into coaching. Anybody's perspective.
I immediately look to bet on the opposing quarterback. This week, that's Jordan Love, who's been balling this year. So the way I'm going to approach this matchup with the Jags and the Packers is to bet on Love over pass yards, over passing TDs, put those plays into parlays, bet them individually. I don't care. The Jags are dead last in pass yards allowed per game, and we know that Love has a diverse passing attack in this Green Bay offense that can exploit a terrible defense. Jordan Love is who you want to bet on.
Jacksonville Jaguars back at their real home after keeping hope alive across the pond. They host the Green Bay Packers on a 3-game win streak.
Low snap, the kick, it is good!
Packers, winners of 5 of their last 6, come in off a heavyweight bout with Houston. Jacksonville's defense taking on a Jordan Love-led Packers offense, top 10 in scoring in 2024.
To the end zone, diving catch! What a catch it is by Kraft!
Jaguars defense on the year has struggled to keep teams off the scoreboard, but they at least held New England to 16, so enter off one of their better outings.
Jalen Polk has to slow down, and he's not able to secure the football before he takes a big shot down the sideline.
Jacksonville secondary gets Love off a 3 TD game, made all the clutch throws needed late.
And they go for it. They've got themselves a first down, and in field goal range.
Should be noted, Love has had an INT problem, 2 last week, has 8 on the year, 1 in every game.
Here he is, way down the field. Look out, he's picked.
Jaguars pass defense Love takes on, has had trouble coming up with the digits. Craig's mom would tell him they ain't got no game. Gave up over 270 yards to Drake May, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Rating allowed for the year now over 113, 16 touchdowns allowed, just 1 pick. Now your father, he's got game. For the season, Jacksonville's DBs have struggled versus all 3 kinds of pass catchers. Tight end and running back gave them the most trouble versus New England. A 122.4 rate allowed to them in 2024. Gave up 82 yards on 8 catches to Hunter Henry in their win.
No problems here for the first-round pick. Mayu connects with Hunter Henry and gets it down inside the Jacksonville 35.
Love has Tucker Kraft at his disposal, has scored in 3 of their last 4.
How about a tight end? That's looking that nimble.
Jaguars D, 30th in rating allowed to running backs, 29th to wide receivers. They did hold Patriots wideouts in check for the most part. Love has 4 wide receivers he uses game to game. Last week, not much from Christian Watson or Jaden Reed. Dontavian Wicks scored along with 48 yards.
They go long. They get the completion near the 1-yard line. Touchdown. Dontavian Wicks.
And Romeo Doubs got his chance to drive the WR1 bus. 10 targets, led the team, 8 catches, 94 yards.
You do not want to play the Packers man-to-man. They have as much depth at the wide receiver position as any team in the NFL.
Can Jacksonville pester Love? Trayvon Walker with his 6th sack last week. Jaguars got to May twice, pressured him close to 40% of the time. Their pressure rate for the year much lower, so they'd take some more of that Week 7 action.
Being pressured, Trayvon Walker has done it again.
Love has faced a below average pressure rate in 2024, only sacked 7 times, Green Bay top 10 good there, but he was bagged 3 times on 33 pass attempts by Houston.
From the goal line in trouble, they got him this time.
Josh Jacobs, 76 yards, 6.3 a run versus the Texans, one of the most efficient outings as a Packer.
Handoff, Jacobs got a big lane.
Jacobs gets one of the toughest defenses on running backs this year, and they've held running backs to 3.7 yards per carry.
And Eric Armstead, Chad Muma there, and actually it's a loss of 1 on the play.
Green Bay's defense also draws a good back. Jacksonville's offense was powered by Tank Bigsby Week 7, 118 yards, 4.5 a run versus the Patriots, 2 TDs, has run for 70-plus yards 4 times now, 2 100-yard games.
Bigsby's going to get into the end zone yet again.
Can Jacksonville's O-line move Green Bay's D linemen the way they moved New England's? Well, the Packers gave up 115 yards, 2 TDs to Joe Mixon on 4.6 a run, and that's how much they've given up to running backs for the year.
He's on his way past McKinney, and there he goes down the sideline.
Trevor Lawrence would love another good tank game. He was able to fill in the gaps versus the Patriots to the tune of 193 yards, a touchdown, no picks, rating over 120. 2024, 9 touchdowns against 3 INTs.
Lawrence looking to the middle, he's got Thomas for the touchdown.
Trev left Week 7 with his jersey so fresh and so clean. 0 sacks taken, wasn't even hit once. Faced pressure just 26% of the time this season.
Trevor Lawrence does a great job putting air under that football so the tip of the football is falling down, making it a friendly ball.
Green Bay's pass rush played a huge role in their win, sacked C.J. Stroud 4 times on just 21 pass attempts, pressured him a hefty 48% of the time without a lot of blitzes, but the few they sent, very effective.
Untouched, he gets to him.
Lawrence in turn faces a tough Packers secondary too, also comes in off a great outing, held Stroud to 86 yards, 4.1 an attempt, sub 60 rating, dominated one of the best in the game. They've held quarterbacks in general to a low 80s rate.
He has made some plays today, and they deny the first down catch it would have been.
Brian Thomas, meet your shadow this week. Jair Alexander, Green Bay holding wideouts to a 76.6 rating, 6th lowest. Thomas scored again, 89 yards versus New England, a TD in 3 of his last 4.
Brian Thomas cuts in from the inside position. Nobody covers him.
Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis under 30 yards last week. Tight end Evan Ingram caught all 5 of his targets, not many yards. Jaguars sit at 2-5. Since 1990, just 6.5% of teams that started that way made the playoffs. If they can make it to 3-5, it jumps up to 10.6%. If they drop to 2-6, it goes down to 1.6. Packers 5-2, teams with that mark have made it 74% of the time, drops to 64% if they go 5-3, 82% if they go 6-2.
Brandon McManus flew into town midweek, and now he's doing Lambeau Leap.